Hello, my beautiful fragrance family. Dustin here, Fragrance Fan. Go ahead and do me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, and I'm just going to keep on bringing you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews. That 40-ish and $100 range, most of these are way less than that, and a good number of these you can find at your local rack stores. You hear the dog barking? You can't stop a little dog from next door. Thing's annoying. It is right now anyhow. I got 10 fragrances that I feel like, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, I can't live without. They are not, this is a disclaimer, necessarily my absolute favorites in my collection. I picked this list for a reason. It could also be titled the most versatile with 10 fragrances, the most versatile collection you can have with 10 fragrances. Basically, none of these share anything in common with the other one. That's why I picked this the way that I did. But I'm being truthful when I say that I jones for these ones. There's something about the scent profile of these things that I just kind of have to have in my life. Some of these are going to surprise you. Others of these are not. So let's talk about 10 fragrances that I think are awesome, that I'm always going to have at least one bottle of. So up first, we're going to go with one that may or may not surprise you. That's Diesel Only the Brave. This is one that I took with me when there was the hurricane going on and stuff. It just works in so many different environments. It's an easy to like, easy to reach for fragrance. It's citrusy and fresh. It's a little bit sweet and playful. It's got that violet leaf kind of giving it a green aquatic thing at the same time. It's got like touches of powderiness. There's a little bit of leather going on. So it's just, this thing works for the young. It works if you're a little older like me, but you got some young bones in your body. This thing just does it. And solid compliments, decent performance. Diesel Only the Brave had to make this list. There's other fragrances that are similar to this. Dossier's Fougere Pink Pepper, or whatever it's called, got a similar smell to it. But I think this is a little more versatile because it's a little bit fresher with some of that bright citrus. All that playful amber sweetness, violet, a little bit of leather. Just, this thing does it for me. It's just a good smelling fragrance. Not necessarily one of my favorites, but it's one that I'm always going to have because I just use this thing so stinking much. Up next, one that I was in between the original and the intense version. And the reason why I went for the intense, it's a little bit stronger. They both do all the same exact things. And I just, overall, I personally like it a hint more, but I would recommend the original to most people over this one, and that is Bentley for Men Intense. And the reason why I recommend the original over this one is because it's a little bit softer, easier, and it's got like more of a florally touch, even though this has an added floral note. They got all the same notes. And if you don't know what this one smells like, it's spicy, woody, very boozy, smoky, hardly any sweetness going on in here. Just a smoky, spicy, boozy, woody, leather, masculine, boss, confident, cool weather fragrance. Long lasting, gets the job done, raking compliments. It's just one of those bold fragrances that has that captivating masculinity that I just crave sometimes. So Bentley for Men Intense had to make this list. Up next, a freshie that the reason why this one made the list is, first of all, I really like the way that it smells. Second of all, I know that I kind of can't live without this thing because when I had to purchase another one because I broke the bottle, I really was missing this thing. I missed it so much. I could smell it. I would go back to the broken bottle and smell it and stuff sometimes, see if there was any way I could get some. So that's why I know that this one had to make it to this list. And that is Lattafa's Mahir Legacy. This one is bright citrus, super zesty, clean, fresh, uplifting, bright citrus. There's like lime and lemon. It's green, it's fresh, it's bright and sparkly. This right here is a fragrance for the summer that will just, when somebody smells you, it'll just turn heads. It really is so invigorating and uplifting and bright. There's several other bright, awesome smelling fragrances that I was thinking about putting in this list, but they don't perform as much. Tommy Bahama's St. Bart's. Amazing smelling, one of my favorite fresh fragrances. But this one, as far as scent profile, is right up there with that, and it performs a lot better and is cloning a very expensive fragrance apart from the Marley. This one had to get on here. I broke that last one and I was missing the daylights out of this thing. So Lattafa Mahir Legacy is definitely a freshie that should be on anybody's shelf that likes fresh fragrances. Up next, one that I know gets some hate from somebody, but when you love a fragrance, right, you get a brand new fragrance and you are just loving that thing, you kind of want to show everybody, like, man, smell this. You've got to get involved with this thing because you want them to experience that same wow, that same, oh my goodness, like almost make you melt type of a deal. And so far, everybody that I've showed this thing to has that, oh my goodness, wow, this thing is really, really good type of a thing. In fact, I was just at the perfume store earlier today, and there were some kids, they sounded like they kind of knew what they were talking about a little bit, and I was like, dude, smell that one. And he smelled it, and he goes, bro. And out of all the fragrances, that's the one he took a picture of because he wanted it. I'm talking about Lattafa's Al Noble Ameer. Once been called the Crown Prince of Dubai, somebody said is what it smells like. And spicy, woody, hints of like little bits of vanilla. And I think there's benzoin in here. And benzoin can kind of have that little bit of a vanilla kind of feel. Spicy, leathery, woody, touches of vanilla, masculine, decent performance, and you want to talk about solid compliments. This is the fragrance that people have like made me spell it out because they wanted to know what it was that I was wearing. I love this thing. I reach for it all the time. The juice level, just by shaking it, is probably about here. And I've only gone through one winter with this thing. This is going to be the second one, so that should say something about how much I like this. With as many fragrances as I have, I'm always going to have one of these or something that smells very similar to it. Apparently this smells a bit like Baby Cat. I have no clue because I've never smelled that one. But Lattafa Al Noble Ameer, out of the three in this line, this is my favorite. All three of them are pretty good, but this one is just hands down the one. Up next is one that I have missed dearly because somebody was borrowing it. Kind of my fault because I wasn't able to set up a time to meet up with them to get this thing back. And man, I was missing this thing so much. I was missing it. And I wore it today. I remember why I like this thing so much. Most expensive one on this list. Club de Nuit limited edition parfum. Everything you like about the original Club de Nuit minus everything you don't like, and a little bit of added richness and character from that black currant. It still has that lemon. It has that lemony opening, but it's not abrasive or harsh. It's not headache inducing or nose burning. It has none of that. Same pineapple, just about as much of that smokiness with the birch. The black currant gives it a little bit, it grounds it a little bit more, makes it juicier and richer. This one has loads of depth going on in here. There's a rose note. I don't really hear people talking much about the rose note. I do catch hints of it in this thing, but more than anything else, lemony, pineapple, smoky, woody, smooth, black currant. This one lasts for a long time. It is still on my hand. I put it on my hand just to test drive it out so I could time it and everything, see if it still performed the same. That was like 7 or 8 hours ago, and I took a shower and it's still on my hand. This thing lasts till the next day on clothes at least. You might go nose blind, but it lasts, and it rakes in solid compliments. Club de Nuit limited edition, it's got to be my collection. If not, something that's nearly as good in the event. I love Aventus. Might be cliche. I love the scent profile of Aventus. Aventus Cologne, Aventus Absolute. I love Aventus Cologne. That thing is amazing. Hachivat, Mancera Cedra Boise, Mind Games. All these fragrances that have that DNA, I'm a sucker for them. This one, like, an eighth of the price or a quarter of the price of some of those, just no brainer. That's my baby. Up next, one that kind of surprised me that I picked, but when I was going through this list, honestly, and I'm looking at all of my fragrances and kind of picturing if somebody says that I gotta throw them all away and I can only keep 10 of them, this one I kept wanting to reach for it because I did it in the summer all the time. I would reach for this thing because it puts me in that mood. I live in Florida and sometimes I want to just bottle up that tropical feel if I'm going to the beach or I'm just doing maybe close to the beach or I just want to feel like I'm at the beach or something like that. I was in between a couple of them. One of them I didn't pick because probably not going to be available all the time. Tommy's Vibrant Summer. But Glacier Bold from Maison Alhambra. The Jean Paul Gaultier Lowe. Some people say it's Lowe Le Parfum. I haven't smelled that one, but I know Lowe, and this is darn close to it. Same notes, bergamot, tonka bean, and coconut, and you get all of that in here. The tonka bean in here gives it a vanilla and almost hints of a tobacco. Almost as much bright, crispy bergamot as there is that tonka bean, and the coconut gives this thing a creamy tropical vibe. It's not a dirty coconut, it's not spicy, it's a smooth, creamy, tropical bergamot, vanilla, coconut vibe. This thing works. It lasts maybe 6 hours, so the performance isn't bad for being such a fresh fragrance. I love the way this thing smells. I'm always going to have it on my shelf, and I'm going to keep on reaching for this thing until it's probably gone and have to buy another one. Up next, this is a good example of me only choosing one rather than the flanker because I don't want it to be redundant, and that is khamrah's qahwa. And yes, I really was in between the two because though I've said that this one kind of won in my battle between the two, just ever so slightly, I was still, which one do I really actually want to have? If it came down to it, I know it sounds weird, but sometimes some are more versatile, so that'll sway your decision. And they're so similar, and I just like how this one is blended a little bit more. That's why I went for this one. It's a little bit more masculine, but Lattafa khamrah qahwa. If you don't know what it smells like, then get out from underneath the rock and I'm going to help you. It is obviously a Killian's Angel Share twist, and it's vanilla, cinnamon, spicy, woody, boozy, in the air, smooth whiskey. Like there's no whiskey note in this thing, but in the air, your sillage will have a whiskey accord. Spicy, vanilla, dates, praline, creamy, smooth, like a warm apple pie thing. Very, very lovely, gorgeous scent, warm, inviting, fireplace, Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner, date night fragrance. Good performance, 8+ hours all day long. This one had to make my list. This one is gonna be no surprise to you guys whatsoever if you have watched any of my videos with any kind of list. Afnan Turathi Blue. There's other fragrances that are in this scent DNA, some that aren't even cloning the same thing. This Bulgari Tiger clone, Rubroka Theorem. The reason why I chose this one is because it's a little more versatile. Theorem is probably a little bit easier to wear, but this one's more versatile with that added sweetness. Spicy, tart, grapefruit, amber, woody is what's mainly going on with this thing. Man, let me get... Oh! Wow, that sucked. Didn't look like it was aiming right at me like that. I'm not editing that out either because that's goofy. Spicy amber, or spicy grapefruit, amber, a little bit of earthiness, and some woods. My eye turns red, you know why. Performance, actually pretty decent on this one. I was continuing to catch whiffs 6 hours after I put this thing on my skin. First time I wore it, I wasn't used to the scent profile. Went to the beach. By the time I was done with the beach, going to the dinner place, still smelling it pump off, smelling it on the seatbelt and stuff later on. Good performance. Mine is anyhow. And yeah, there's something about that spicy grapefruit amber combination with a little bit of woods that just really, really captivates me. That I can't say it enough, that spicy, tart grapefruit. It says citruses in here, but it leans heavier on the grapefruit side. So yeah, this one. And I know that I ranted about, Immortal by John Lowe. Totally different clone, but still has that spicy citrus thing. I'm going with this one because it's more versatile. Up next, another one that might surprise you guys, but if you look at the juice level, it's not going to surprise you. And man, I gotta have my Ferragamo F Black. Look at that. I haven't wore this thing. I wore this thing once in like the past year or something because the juice level scares me. I know all I gotta do is buy another bottle, but I hate buying the same bottle twice. So if you don't know about this one, it's got lavender, black pepper, tonka bean, making it like a creamy vanilla thing going on. And there's something about that black peppery, creamy vanilla. It's not too sweet. It's a little bit sweet in the opening. Almost has like a green apple thing going on in the opening. I don't want to spray it. I don't have that much in here. But it's got a little bit of the sweetness in the opening, but the dry down is more like a creamy, less sweet, if that makes sense, vanilla with that spicy pepper. This is a dressed up kind of fragrance. It works great. They call it a black tie fragrance because it really is a bold, confident, but easy to wear at the same time. It just gives it a formal feel. It's a very formal feeling fragrance, but it's not too serious. It's not like Bentley for Men Intense type serious. It's not bold like that, but it still has the same kind of elegance and formality in this thing. So Ferragamo F Black, tried and true, classic, been on the hype train before. I'm keeping it there. Last and certainly not least, I know it probably surprised you guys if you guys know me that some of these are not on my list. I love the fragrances that are not. Salvatore Ferragamo Aqua Senzial Blue. Love that thing. I've actually bought a second bottle of it. Versace Dylan Blue. I need to buy a second bottle of it. But this is the one that I just crave more. This is the one that really, really does more for me. And I don't think I even gave it as high of a rating as some of those. Rochas L'Homme. It is so unique. Some people compare it to Dolce & Gabbana K. I really don't get that much of a comparison between the two. This is such a unique fragrance. It's got blood orange in it. It's got warm, spicy cardamom, a good dose of dusty, earthy mossiness. There's patchouli in here. This thing is just... I'm like hesitant to spray this thing. I'm going to do it. Let me get some of that. Yeah, it smells so good. There's something about that blood orange cardamom combination. Blood orange got a little bit of a tartness to it, a little bit of a zing with that cardamom, earthy, dusty moss, patchouli. Almost has an ambroxan kind of feel without having any ambroxan in it. This is a blue fragrance that is super unique. It almost seems like it's not blind buy worthy, but every person that I've showed this thing to really, really likes the way that it smells. I think this rode the hype train for a little bit. This is another fragrance I'm keeping on the hype train. It's super worthy of being it. It's so affordable too for what it is. Performance isn't the best, but it is good. It's great for church. Like you can dress this thing up, dress it down. It's one of the most versatile fragrances that I own. This one had to make the list. It had to. There's something so just addicting about this fragrance. I really almost have withdrawals from this one and I have to reach for it. I'm gonna have to buy another bottle of it. I don't know if you can see the juice. It's way down there. So more cases, more often than not, the juice level does not lie. So that's 10 fragrances that I just really, really enjoy wearing. Like I said, not necessarily my highest rated, but this list, I put it together for a reason, and if I only had these 10 fragrances, I'd be able to do anything that I want just as easily as I could with this plethora of fragrances that I have. These 10 will definitely do the trick in any scenario, no matter what. And I love every one of them, and I need them. I need these ones at all times. So with that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always, and until next time.